Welcome to another Secret Influence TV interview. Music is such a powerful thing. It influences us in so many ways. It can make us happy, it can make us sad, it can excite us, it can affect us and our emotions and the way we feel. And it has such a powerful effect on us. Today I'm very excited because I'm going to be interviewing Will Ludford, who's a blues rock guitar player. So first of all, welcome, Will, to Secret Influence TV.
Hi, Nick. Hello, how are you? And thanks for having me on your Secret Influence TV show. Pleasure to meet you and pleasure to have a chat with you today.
Excellent. Well, I'm very pleased to be talking to you. So just to start off, Will, can you tell us a bit about your journey as a recording artist and how you got started in the music industry?
How I got started, yeah. I suppose for myself, really, Nick, it might not have been the same introduction to music as many people. I have two grandfathers. One was, and both of them were musical. One was a drummer and one was a trumpet player. So I suppose that was going to be there anyway. Hence, my father was a drummer, but not in pop bands or rock bands, but, you know, just drummer. And so I kind of learned from that. We lived on an American air base when I was born in Dublin, but we moved to England when I was at a young age. And my father got a job on an American air base in a place called Couplington near Wing, which is near Leighton Buzzard, where I'm from. And on that base, it was like, it wasn't back then. Like today, you couldn't do it with health and safety. You couldn't do it. But as a child then, you could run about around the plains and run about everywhere.
Wow,
you know, people didn't care, you know. Sure. People gave you candy floss and chewing gum and chocolate, you know, basically told you to get out of the way. Sure. But all of the time, these American airmen who were based there were playing old the old black blues artists, if you like, Howlin' Wolf, Muddy Waters, Buddy Guy, you know, that, you know, the usual, that kind of thing. Cool. And I was listening to that really from the time I was 7. I was listening to that for maybe 5 years. You know, just being there, and that's all the intake I had, because there wasn't a pop scene, if you like. I don't think the pop scene really came along until Tommy Steele, was it that kind of thing? Yeah. I think, if I'm correct and say, I don't want to be speaking out of like, well, that's not true, but I'm only trying to remember.
Sure.
So for about 5 years, I had this intake of early blues people. Then the American air base went back to America. They had to go back, which left us, you know, stranded. So my father got a job in a place called Vauxhall Motors. And we moved to Leighton Buzzard proper then, you know, which is the big town where we are. And I started at school. I had a couple of friends. I had Barry Parsons, I had Fred Lamb, and I had Tony Laffwell. Sadly, Fred and Tony passed away far too soon. It just happened. But Barry and myself, we got into a kind of a local band.
Okay.
So we played covers by like the Beatles, Rolling Stones, the Hollies, the Searchers, Jerry and the Pacemakers. So we did all of that kind of thing, and we played around a couple of places. We practiced in Barry's bedroom or my bedroom, wherever, until somebody complained. My dad would normally stop that rubbish.
Sure. We had that.
We all had that, and then eventually we kind of got enough confidence, if you like, or somebody was foolish enough to give us a gig at the local workmen's club, you know, back in the 60s, as you know, like flat caps and up, you know. So so we played there. Really, in a way, we were playing to like our neighbours, if you like, you know, my mum and dad and neighbours. It's old Bill up there and it's Will, you know, Will and his mates, you know. So there wasn't any big pressure. From then we moved on. Then Barry and myself formed a blues rock band called Diamond Lil, with a drummer called Nigel Howlett.
That's your first band, was that?
And we, you know, it was quite. I wouldn't say successful. I mean, because you know, success is. I'm not really sure what success is. Like if your next door neighbour knows who you are today, that's a big. You know, you've made it. You know.
Yeah.
But we did well. We played on the college circuit, You know,
Okay.
we were like, we played, you know, that kind of thing, which is good. And so that worked out quite well. Then that band, I don't know why bands break up. I can't remember why we broke up, but we broke up. We were all friends, but we broke up.
Sure.
Then I joined another band with Barry later on in life called Glider. And then we did the Fullerton pub circuit scene, where we followed people like Brinsley Swartz, Dr. Feelgood, you know, all the, you know, Ian Drury. We, you know, the Fullerton circuit, you know, they were there that night, then you were there that night, and they moved on
some
to
pretty big names, yeah, incredible.
So that was okay, and that was going well. And then again, that band broke up. There's no reason why bands broke up, you know, nobody killed each other and nothing like that. You know, somewhere along the line in everybody's career, some people decide not to go forward.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, of course it does. Yeah.
Yeah,
no,
some people decide that, well, you know, I don't want to go that far, if you like.
Sure.
Whereas I wanted to explore and go that bit further. So the band broke up, and then I answered an advert in a paper called The Melody Maker, which is
yes,
now, but it was local. It was the rag where you were nobody unless you had a melody maker. You know, in actual fact, you had to be seen walking down the town with a melody maker. It was, you know,
I remember.
So I got the job with the band in London, and I went to London and joined various bands and worked with various bands, and then I was very, like, I mean, my journey, as I say, my journey is not really maybe the same as everybody else's. Some people in their journey might have had it quite a lot harder than me. Some might have had it easy, but a lot of luck came my way, put it to you that way. I met the right people at the right time. I got a job, I did session work, that kind of thing. So I eventually then got into, like, I was established, if you like, you know, in that way. And then did the touring, worked with different people, and got up to a point where I was happy in my life, and I had toured, and I did recordings, and I'd written hit records for different people. I'd done the whole thing, and then I moved back to Leighton Buzzard at a time when I was happy mentally to come back and say, like, I'm happy with that now. I can live here and I can play music and just live at home and play music and do what I'm doing.
Well, it sounds a great place now, and it's fascinating to hear how, you know, your interest and passion for music started so young. And, you know, I mean, like you said, I mean, so many things in life, people priorities change, or get, you know, or in what direction they're going to go in, but you've obviously, you know, kept that passion, and you've stayed in the music, you know.
I just wanted to, as I say, there are plenty of bands out there who are probably listening to this right now who are saying, yeah, I was in a band, and I often meet people who say, I wish I'd have gone further. I wish I was in a band. I wish I'd have stayed at it. I don't think there's any particular magic to why people go. I just wanted to go on. Now, why it was me instead of them, I don't know. But I just wanted to have that more, you know, maybe a connection or an interest or something. But the interesting thing about music is I was playing at Island Records, Chalk Farm, and Sid the engineer said to me, you know, like, this was a pop song. It was like Telephone Line by Alton Ellis. So that was going on. And Sid had said to me, you're really a blues player. And, you know, because Sid was a Jamaican, a lovely guy, a beautiful guy. And he said, you're really a blues player, you know that? And I said, not really. No, I didn't really know what I was. It's not something, I didn't wake up one morning and go, I'm a blues player. Well, hallelujah. So I said, no, what makes you think that? And he said, well, it's in your playing. You know, this is the way you play, the notes you
hadn't noticed it yourself.
He said, you must have played blues. And I told him about me growing up in the American Air Base, to which he related to that, because I was 19, 20. He would have been about 40 at that time. So he had a lifetime of experience behind him, you know. So, and he said, well, that's why you listen to that whatever you listen to at an early age, seemingly that's what you take in.
Yeah, sort of influence your style. That makes sense.
I wish I'd listened to Richard Branson at an early age.
Oh, me too, me too.
Yeah.
No, it is interesting though, isn't it? Even if you don't realise, I think sometimes the people you meet and the music you listen to influences you and influences the style that you adopt. So it's interesting to hear about that from what you say. My next question is about the process you go through for when you produce music. How would you describe sort of your creative process when you write and produce music? How do you approach sort of crafting your songs?
Writing of songs. The writing of songs is different to everybody. Some people work alone. Some people work with two people. Some people work with three. Some people work in a group. So it's a very individual thing. This always makes everybody laugh when I say this, but I despair in myself when I see these people on television. Hi, how did you write the song? Well, I sit about and it came to me in about 5 minutes. I had the song done, and I'm going. I'm thinking, how do you do that? If I'm writing a song, I have to be at it all day, all night, playing along, thinking about what's this, like that goes in there, until eventually, maybe after a day or 2 days, if you're lucky, you come up with, hey, that sounds, I can work with that, but everybody's journey on songwriting would be different. When you consider back in the day, John Lennon and Paul McCartney, who obviously are like amazing songwriters, musicians, had really hit the nail on the head when they had said in an interview in America that they felt sorry for Elvis Presley.
Right.
The guy said, "What? Why?" They said, "Because he's one man."
Oh, interesting.
And there's four of us. We write, we play, we joke about, we throw pillows at each other and that kind of thing. So there's four of them to share. And like, I'm having a bad time. I can't feel this. I can't get an idea for this line. Somebody else will jump in and say, "What about blah blah blah?" Oh yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Good point.
Whereas, as I said, Elvis Presley was just one man. He had to deal with the whole thing. I can understand. So I related to that. So I think there's a benefit, but there's actual fact. Today there's a lot of groups out there who all over the world where you can join in on Zoom meetings helping people playing. It's amazing.
No, it's true.
You get stuck for a line. What rhymes with ding dong? You get 50 people saying ping. So it's a lot easier today. But myself here, I just work on myself, on my own, coming up with an idea to work with ideas and bounce off other things. But having said that, I have been extremely lucky where I've worked with other people who really were good songwriters.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think your point is, I think it is nowadays it's easier to collaborate with other people in some ways because of things like Zoom. But I find it interesting because I don't write music, but I'm a writer, so and I also go through a process of trying to come up with ideas and content to write about. So it's interesting, to see the process you go through, for your music.
Yeah. I think we all approach it in a different way.
I agree.
But as you say today, in your writing career and my writing career, anybody's writing career today, you're having a bad that I can't come up with anything. I'm getting no ideas. You join a meeting, where there's about maybe 50 other songwriters around the world who also give you confidence. Yeah, I've been there. Yes, I've had that. But the other thing, have you noticed this? I don't know if it really affects me at all, because I'm like a Doggett Street boy from Big Buzzard. I haven't got degrees up to here and nothing. I'm self-taught guitar player, but you get these emails every so often. I can help you with your writer's block.
Sure. Yeah.
And you're thinking, well, how can you? I can't help myself. How can you? So you click on it, and it's some guy, in the Colorado mountains in a cave on a I think telling you how to, do that and do that. It doesn't make sense. You just think, well, you're not here with me in the studio right now.
No, I agree.
Where I'm saying to you, see, da 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 da. How do you get into this chorus? And he's going, well, a drum roll and a build up and then we're in.
Yeah.
No, he's, you read how to do it. It's interesting because I spoke to a black guitar player one time in America, to which he said, music should be heard, not seen. And I thought, okay,
that makes sense.
I get that. I thought, I get that.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, because obviously music is a sound audio thing, but obviously when we listen to music, we do often associate it with the person and
yeah. Did you see Paul McCartney on the television there a couple of months ago, explaining his recording thing? How when he was recording with the Beatles, like I was in the Beatles recorded in Savile Row when they had Apple. I worked with George Harrison in there, and he was explaining about he puts down this, then he puts that, then he does that, then he puts this down, then he does that, then that, and then this, and then he puts that down, then about 3 days later it's all ready. Right. He said, and now he said, like he's in the studio now working with his producer, and you say, here's the chorus, blah 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 blah, and the man just goes ding, and he copies and pastes, and that's all the choruses. Okay?
Oh really? Yeah.
What's the next thing? Well, I've got this ding ding. Okay, we copy and paste that. Zing. That's it. That's all through the song now. What's next?
Yeah, no, technology.
In about 2 hours, we're ready for coffee.
That's right. No, I think technology inevitably had an effect on the way music is produced and edited, and it's good and bad things about that. But you can see it creeping more into all industries, including music.
Oh no, it's so changed.
It has, and it continues to. So we talk about your music. I mentioned in the beginning, sort of, your blues rock guitar player. But what would you sort of, someone hadn't heard your music before, what do you consider to be unique about your music? I mean, how would you define your genre?
Right. Well, primarily right now, I'm a blues rock guitar player. Okay. I'm working on a blues album. The last couple of albums I've done and singles were of a blues rock, pop rock, blues and rock of some combination. Okay. There's so many genres now, I'm not even sure where I am at the minute. Sure. I wake up in the morning, I have to see what am I today. But primarily a blues rock guitar player. Sure. Now, I have written hit records. I wrote country hit records for Irish artists who went to #1 with a country song I wrote. Okay. A couple of artists, so I wrote country songs for them. But they went to #1 in Ireland for which was great. And I wish them every health and luck. Yeah. Then I wrote Abacus, the Abacus single, which is a big hit in Europe, Indian Dancer, which is a big disco, like sweet kind of thing, glam rock thing. Okay. And I wrote that, and it was a massive hit in Europe for a band called Abacus from London. And then I wrote pop songs as well. But as I say, what I'm doing myself is primarily I'm a blues rock guitar player, and the last album I made was kind of pop rock. And this is the problem, Nick, where you go in your career. This is what happens. I had made the last album a bit more commercial, and in order to reach more people. Like I can sit in the corner and just go da 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 da, and then 99% of people out there will think, well, I don't want that, So I wrote the single "All I Wanted Was You." I made that more commercial for radio play. Okay. And it worked. I got a gold disc and a silver disc, and I got an award, and I got all the nice things, all the lovely things you get. Yeah. But the blues radio stations wouldn't play it. It's not blues. I get that, I mean, like, if you're on a station that plays blues, you're not going to play, congratulations. No. So I get that. No offense taken. But it's just one of them things that I didn't get any blues, although some of the tracks on the album were blues. Right. But people didn't take the time to listen to the album. They just heard the single and just say, well, it's not really blues, so I don't want to be playing it. Without listening to the other tracks on the album, which were blues, and they would have got airplay. So now I'm working on the blues album, in the hope that more people are aware of me now than before, and might come on my journey with me. I might say, well, I like the last thing, I listened to this thing. Now, if my blues isn't 3 hours of da 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 da, my baby left me, I'd be ready to go. But if it's not like that, but again, interestingly enough, I watched a video for the IBBA, the Independent Blues Artists in the UK, and the band on the show, the band who won the nomination, if you like, for Blues Band of the Year was playing kind of like a hip rock thing.
Okay, wow.
It wasn't da 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 da.
Yeah.
It was more like.
Is that that's because music in that sense, perhaps the boundaries between types of music is a bit more blurred. Music evolves, so what we think is sort of typical classical blues. Now, but it's it's sort of evolving a bit, isn't it? In that sense?
It is really, yeah. So really, my genre of music is really blues rock. I like that music. I do listen to a lot of blues even now. And then, like as I say, the new album I'm working now is 10-track album, and it'll be blues then. And there's a lot of radio stations that have already said, when that's done, send it to me, and we'll see about doing that. So it's good.
Yeah. Okay. That's great. Next one is do you think is your music, do you write it just purely sort of to give people pleasure in listening to, or do you have a sort of messages in it? Do you sort of, is it based on experiences you've had? How I mean, what is it? Does that make sense?
Now, I hands up. I don't think I'm sending a message.
No, you don't need to. Just I never saw people say that.
I don't think I'm sending people off to do that. Jump off a cliff. No.
Or is your music based on your sort of? I think people write on the experiences they've had. Has your experiences shaped the music you write?
Yeah, I think you're probably right in that way. My parents died when I was younger, so I'm not going to have really sometimes a really happy kind of time. You dwell on things as you do. So a lot of things happened in my life which I draw from that pool of well, this happened and that happened. So and I've had a couple of friends who passed away through drugs and drink.
Sure.
So I've got a little pool there where I can draw, like I can relate to things, and I can say, I know how you feel. And you're like, if you're writing a blues song, I think it's fair to say, if people listen to the words and they don't feel the sadness you feel, then it hasn't worked.
Sure. Yeah.
If you're listening to somebody's blues song and they're pouring their heart out to you, you should be in a situation where you're going, yeah, I get that. I've been there. I was dumped myself. I know what you're talking about. So that but I'd like sending a message. You want a message, Carole King?
Sure. Yeah.
She sent messages out left, right. Like, what about that song she wrote? Is We're So Far Away. I mean, she moved from New York to the Montana mountains, and they all went to Montana. Then eventually, one by one, they all moved back to New York and left her there. To which she said, why does anybody not stay in one place anymore?
Yeah, that's a good point.
They're flying everywhere,
Yeah, no, true.
So no messages, I don't think.
No. So the next question. So you've obviously shared some fantastic sort of stories. Do you have is there any particular strong memories that stand out for you, from your musical career, or any particular achievements that particularly stand out for you that you've had?
Obviously, myself, when I lived in Big Buzzard when I was younger, 15, 16, up the road from me, there's a #1 pop band called the Barron Knights.
Okay, yeah.
And I met them, talked to them, and they took me under their wing.
Okay.
And through meeting them and working with them and writing songs with them, from 15 to 18, 19, I really grew as a person. Okay. So I thank them very much, because they were not only a great band musically, vocally, but they could write good songs as well.
Okay.
So I appreciate that. Meeting Jimi Hendrix and playing his guitar when I was about 20 in the Ram Jam Club, was
Wow.
yeah, that was
Incredible.
and now that's great, because back when he had Hey Joe 1967 was it?
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
definitive
he
songs.
might not have been that, you know,
Sure.
that big. But I mean, today now, like all my friends around here say, "Oh, Will played with Jimi Hendrix." Well, I didn't play with Jimi. I jammed with Jimi Hendrix. Big difference.
Still.
And meeting Eric Clapton in Cream
Wow.
in the Ram
Yeah,
Jam
it's
Club when Cream had
iconic.
their first Cream's first ever gig in the Ram Jam Club,
Wow,
and
that's
talking to
incredible.
Eric, you know, it's amazing, you know,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. Then with George Harrison in Savile Row, and I met Paul and John there. I didn't meet Ringo there, but I met Paul and John.
Sure.
That was a big thing, yes. And obviously having a couple of hit records that I had, that they're big things. Oh yeah. One thing that I always remember, and this is people are gonna go, you know, like, you know, but when I'd had a bit of success, when I left my hometown, Leighton Buzzard, which would be a very working class area, I was walking from the station down to my parents. We lived in a council house, you know, which,
Okay.
so I was walking home there. And as I walked through the high street carrying my guitar, an old man that I know, you know, who I still, he's gone, but he's a lovely man,
Sure.
walked past me. As he walked past me, he said, "We're all proud of you, Will," you know.
Oh.
And I thought, I said, "Thanks, Joe." And I thought that was, you don't get any better than that. I mean,
No,
the other fame and fortune, I think, is superfluous. I mean, it's there, and it's
sure.
not really that, you know, I love
Sure.
you guys, you know, like,
Yeah, of course.
you know, but and I love you guys too, you know.
Yeah.
So, you know, you're not so, but that really, that,
Yeah,
yeah,
something that's the small
I
things.
remember that, Nick, in a
Yeah.
way, and I sort of think how nice that it was, genuine, it was
Yeah.
heartfelt, and I like that. Yeah, so them
Okay.
memories, yeah,
Yeah,
good.
fantastic. No, you've got some
Yeah,
incredible stories, and you've
yeah,
lucky to obviously met some very sort of almost iconic people. So,
mm.
and you know, so obviously a lot of people influence you in your musical career. Talk about sort of perhaps influence other people in that sense. How, I mean, what sort of advice, you know, would you give? Obviously, a lot of, you know, people, young people, you know, want, you know, passion music, you know, starting off. Is there any advice you'd give to aspiring artists, you know, who might perhaps encounter some of the challenges you've gone through?
Yeah, I remember, excuse me, I remember talking to another well-known guitar player.
Sure.
And I asked him for advice, to which he said, "I'm not really the right person to ask for advice.
Okay.
I made so many mistakes, drink, drugs, alcohol." And I thought, okay, you know, so maybe, although I don't drink and I never took drugs, you know,
Sure.
you know, I'm a complete vegetarian. You know, I'm like, you know, like but I would like to say to people who are either in music, maybe searching their journey, or maybe
Sure.
starting their journey, you know, be yourself and be strong. You know, I mean, if it's for you, it's for you. You might get so far in your journey and you might think, well, it's not what I wanted at all. I'd rather do something else, you know.
Yeah.
You know, it does take a lot, whatever it takes. Even some bands that have #1 hit records and they're gone tomorrow. You know, it doesn't suit everybody.
No.
You know, do you know that thing about marriage? I asked a man one day, you know, like, you know, you're about marriage, and he says, marriage doesn't suit everybody, not even them who are married.
Yeah, it's true.
So,
like most things.
so you know, so
Yeah.
no, so just be strong. If it's something you want to do, go and do it. And if
Sure.
at some point you find, oh, suddenly it's not what I want to do, well, that's okay too. I don't
Yeah.
think you should don't be too hard on yourself. You
I
know,
suppose.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I suppose if you really got that passion for something,
Mm.
then that would help you with your determination to succeed, your perseverance, because that passion will keep you going, I guess.
Yeah, well, I think like with yourself, I mean, you wouldn't be where you are today unless you really focused on, this is what I've got, this great idea, what I can do,
Sure.
a platform, and I'm into this, and I've got great confidence, I'm going to do this, or this is great, it's taken off, and I'll do this, and I'll make this better, and I'll push that in there, and that, and we, you know, and we're on our own.
Sure.
You know, that's fine, but I mean, maybe you might do that for, you know, there's several people in showbiz who I was surprised, newscasters. One, I think last year, I remember, suddenly stopped and wanted to do something else, and it was a top person in the news.
Yeah.
You know, suddenly decided that, I want to go off and climb Mount Everest or something.
Sure. Well, yeah, why not? I guess.
Yeah,
I guess the thing is, everyone's got their own path.
yeah.
And different, way route they take to achieving what they achieve. But if you're on the right path, that's right for us. Then I guess that's the point there.
Yeah. I think you'll know if it's for you. I think that's the secret. You'll know. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I can see that. I mean, it's with my writing myself. I mean, I've always loved writing since I was a kid, a young child, writing short stories, and it's a real passion for it, genuine passion for it. But where the career tops and turns working myself is been an up and down journey like most things. But I think I've always known that writing's for me, so that very much resonates with me. Well, my next question is, obviously social media, is a growing way we communicate and engage with audiences, and obviously I know you're on Spotify. Have you had to, with your music, sort of adapt to reaching your audiences through social media? I know, for example, obviously you're on Spotify. Are you on other channels in that sense? And have you had to, get to grips with that side of things?
Yeah, media today really is a thing, isn't it? 1965, 66, 67, 1970. When you were promoting a single, your record label would say, you've got an interview in Manchester in the van up to Manchester. You've got an interview in Devon, down to Devon. You've got an interview in Scotland, up to Scotland. Now you just do Zoom meetings, or you do a phone thing, like you sit in your front room drinking coffee, unshaven. I just can't see you, so you just say, so the media's like, music, the arts, everything like. I don't think that's the same now. It's all media based, So and it's a very important thing that people need to realize, and a lot of elderly musicians, I think, are coming to terms with the fact that they cannot move forward because the technology is out of their. I've got several musician friends who I love dearly who just can't. I can't do that. How do you do that? And so they've lost out on maybe just backed off and said, I can't do it anymore because it's all technical. It's all this, and you have to do that. So you really have to be a bit savvy.
Besides streaming, I guess, if things with the music being street, you went from sort of records to tape CDs, and then you evolved to streaming. I mean, I think obviously people are sort of almost returned to music, to records. There's a big records come back in popularity now. Apparently, more record shops opening, but music streaming is a big thing as well, isn't it? I think it's
I would never be afraid of the future.
Sure.
Because we don't know what the future is, But I would learn from the past because I've been there, and but I live in the present.
Sure.
But whatever this thing about AI, and we'll have AI bands, whatever, that's not a big problem. And other musicians sitting around might be thinking, oh, I'll be defunct, they won't need me. Well, go and make an AI band of your own.
Yeah. Look at it like that.
Yeah. Jump in and say, okay, I'll make an AI band. Here's Mickey and the Pram Pushers, with their new single. Get involved. It's not the end of the world because somebody's invented a band that doesn't exist.
I like that way of
and really... move on with. So the future doesn't really frighten me. If 5 years time, if you're looking at a YouTube channel and you say Will Ludford and the Pram Pushers, and we're all going, and we don't exist, who cares?
Well, maybe that's the future. Yeah, no,
we're great at overcoming. Like we lost vinyl 45s and our albums. Sure. Then we had CDs. Then we lost the CDs. Then we're going back to vinyl. Then now it's all streaming. There's no CDs or nothing now, or vinyl. It's all just streaming now. Sure. So we overcame all that, and we'll overcome if AI comes in, and that's the way. Well, we'll all become AI. No, we'll manage.
I love your attitude, Will. I think that's something about accepting that. Like anything in life, any industry, change is inevitable, and so technology creeping into things, and I mean, people often ask me, do I feel AI will replace myself as a writer? And I say, well, it will. The people who succeed is people who can, perhaps if needed, could use it as a tool to but yeah, it'll never replace me as a writer, because you'll always need writers, and I'm passionate about it. And it's the same as music, I guess. If you it's you just have to sort of accept it's going to creep in and part of it.
Yeah. But we're always going to have people, Nick, who you can't beat these 45s. No. You can't beat the sound of. Well, in actual fact, if the truth is known, and I've got a friend who's into vinyl big time, and I love him. I love him to bits. He's a great guy. But at some point, your ears are not really hearing what. I think he's just imagining that it's that way. Yeah. Because I would admit myself. I mean, my ears are not the same as like when I was 19.
No, of course.
The only thing that made sense to me right now, I asked an engineer a couple of weeks ago, how can you hear better? And he said, I make better mixes. He said, buy a dog. they hear everything.
Wow, that's good. Maybe that's your
get your dog to do the mixing.
Yeah. Wow, that's quite a sport. My next question, Will, is about obviously fans are important because they they buy your records, they follow you. And just wondering about, you've played live, obviously you produce albums, which how do you sort of engage, have you engaged with your fans over the years? Is that important, sort of understanding who your fans are in that sense? What's the sort of
okay, I was never comfortable with the word fans, because that implies the early Beatles playing at the Palladium, where they're all going.
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah,
they can't hear anything you're doing. We're just I'm just here in the moment. I'm going mad. What's the music like? I don't know.
Sure.
I've never heard of a thing. So the word fan, I'd like to think I'm more of a friend.
Okay.
I'm on Facebook, and I've got 7,000 or something followers on which is not big in comparison to other people might have a lot more. But I'd rather see myself and them who like my music as being somebody, I like that, and I like honesty. I like the last album, but I'm not too sure about the next one. Sure. I like that song, but I didn't like that song.
Yeah.
So I like honesty from people rather than just, you're just amazing. You're so good. Sure. I love you. And then that's God. So I'd rather talk to somebody on Facebook or Twitter, LinkedIn, all the platforms that we're on. Yourself and myself and other professionals are on these platforms.
Yeah.
Where people talk to you in a more honest way, like, hey, that was a good song. Not my cup of tea, but appreciate the fact, like, hey, that did well for you. That got you into the charts in America or something. Not my kind of thing, but sure. Hey,
I think that's one of the things that when you sort of we connected on LinkedIn, and then I followed you on Facebook, and I think that's one of the things that appealed to me was, your came across, very down to earth, and they following your posts and what you're sharing, what you're up to. I think that that straight away felt connection. You're very genuinely connected, and that's
No, I think we'd rather have be in a position where we've got friends who are friendly with you, and not be a friend who likes your music, who's not afraid that you'll dump them, delete them on Facebook. We said, I didn't like that last song. Well, get off. Delete. You just type back, say, it's not for everybody, but it's like it's chocolate. Some people like it, some don't.
It's true. It's true. And like anything, we're never trying to appeal to everyone. We just want to appeal to the people who are interested in what we do.
That's it. And if we're honest with ourselves and we follow our own journey, then we'll accept anybody's opinion with honesty and with grace. Sure. We'll be able to say, and we'll also be able to be honest with ourselves and say, yeah, I made mistakes myself. Nobody's perfect. I made mistakes. I've been in studios where I've made mistakes and I thought, wish I'd have done that, or wish I'd have done that better. But it was too late, but it's gone now. But I mean, yeah, we just accept it.
We're talking about it earlier before you started about, I think anyone who's doing something creative, they always was writing or producing music or some other creative industry where we want to produce a perfect thing, but of course, perfect doesn't exist. So we have to at some point, trust in it and let it go, I guess.
Just let it go. Yeah.
So we'll coming towards the end of our interview, but I feel like I can put a kettle on, another cup of coffee, and chat to you all morning, or
let's do that.
Hear your stories and your insights. So just
Dunkin' biscuits.
One of the most enjoyable interviews I've done. To just sort of round it up, maybe you could just share, what if you're releasing any sort of plans to release the album soon, and how what your plans are looking ahead, but also how people can connect with you. You mentioned on Facebook, is it?
I'm all I think at this point now, you just say I'm on all the usual channels. Facebook is a big one. I'm on it, and Twitter and LinkedIn. So I'm on Spotify, SoundCloud, every channel going. Right now, I said the last album, All I Wanted Is You. People are very welcome to type in Will Ludford, All I Wanted Is You. The single was successful. Again, I'm not asking anybody to love me, I love you guys. It is what it is. If you like it, I very much appreciate it. And thanks for, any good comments. If you don't like it, maybe you like something else. You might like the next one. And if you're a blues fan, and I'm a blues rock guitar player, and I've disappointed you, it wasn't blues. Well, the next one will be blues. It'll be more blues. So I hope you'll come on that journey with me at that time. I hope, like yourself and anybody who's honest as a musician or an artist or a broadcaster like yourself, all we want to do is bring more people into our circle. That's all we want to do. And that's a great thing, you can become isolated having 10 friends who keep agreeing with you, so what I want to do myself personally, if you're on Facebook, add me, Will Ludford, add me. Don't be afraid to say, listen, I saw this interview with Nick and I thought it was, blah, or I liked it or something, chat, tell me, and we'll talk around it, we get by. So just add me, and add Nick as well, and let's grow together. Let's just all move forward. And whatever you're doing personally in your musical career or whatever you're doing, I wish you every health and happiness and the very best of God. I hope life will be kind to you like it's been good to me.
Well, it's great sort of inspiring words finishes on. So just to tail up and say that, Sick Influence TV, I interview people I think have some great expertise which I can share to help people have a bit more success in their business or career. But also I talk to a lot of people who have a lot of powerful stories which I can share to perhaps inspire people. And I think Will's fitted both those categories. Some fantastic stories, but also some great insights and tips for anyone in the music industry. So or looking to develop their musical talent. So if you do like blues, rock, genres, Will said, check Will out. Like I said, just search for Will Ludford on any of the social media channels and do connect. Yes, we should be a community. I do strongly believe, we should support each other. It's I think it should be less about looking how we compete with others, but more how we can collaborate. I think we're stronger when we collaborate than if we're just competing. Do subscribe to my channel, do get notifications, and if you enjoyed the video, share it, leave a comment. And Will, thanks again for your time.
Nick and everybody at Secret Influence TV show, I really appreciate the chat with you. Excuse me. And the enjoyment of just sharing my moments with somebody else like yourself. It shouldn't be so serious. It should be, oh yeah, remember, and a laugh and a joke. And to make it appealing to so everybody might say, that sounds good, music sounds good, I might get into it. So I appreciate that very much. Thanks, Nick.
Thanks. So yeah, so that's the end of the interview. Will, so just say I'll tidy up, edit it a bit, and add an intro, and then I'll put it on my YouTube, send you a link, and I'll obviously promote it on my channels. But genuinely, I've really enjoyed chatting to you. Do you do any sort of live music at all anymore?
Not now. The COVID thing really closed down everywhere, and it like nobody hates talking about money. Should not be the reason why you do anything. You do it because you enjoy it. Sure. But if you're doing